What's going on, y'all? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. This week, by request, 1E guns, but good, preferably with spells and without gunslinger. Old ugly weirdo has tried over and over again to make firearms feel usable, fun, and relevant. Can I do a thing? We can do a thing. And if you're liking what you're seeing, like, subscribe, ding the bell. Stay caught up on all your stuff. Remember, Patreon's the #1 way to keep this ship rolling. Gets you Google Sheets where this bunch of other builds are thrown together. A bunch of other content, OGL permitting, and can get you in some cool games as well. But for now, let's dive in. Okay, so let's take this one from the front, shall we? Usable. Guns. Targets touch AC, which is almost always the lowest AC of the bad guys in the party, give or take. Relevant. Targeting the lowest AC of most things. Seems good. Okay, cool. We got it. Use gun. Gun is usable and relevant. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. The fun part, however, is where this gets interesting. With spells without gunslinger, we've messed around with gun magi in the past. As easy as a weapon proficiency, folks can get access to firearms. There are also a lot of different archetypes that can hand them out. With spells, well, sorry, I'm gonna lie through my teeth about that one. We're not gonna have spells today. Oops. Well, we kind of are. Extracts are weird. Have I mentioned that I really like the first edition Alchemist, but I fucking hate the first edition Alchemist sometimes? We're building a first edition Alchemist today, kids. Specifically, let's grab the gun chemist. So a gun chemist replaces its bombs with alchemical ordnance. When loading a firearm, gun chemists infuse the ammunition with alchemical ordnance. You gotta shoot within a number of rounds equal to the intelligence modifier, so like do this when you're attacking, right? You get class level plus int of these per day. You can fire no more than 1 per round, at least for a little while. The shot fired from the gun deals normal damage, but does 1d6 plus int extra fire damage, like a bomb. This damage scales by 1d6 at every odd-numbered class level after this. You can't fuck with it with crits and vital striking, but you can hit swarms with this. If a gun chemist carries like a blunderbuss and makes a scattering shot with a weapon with a scatter quality, everything takes additional fire damage equal to the minimum damage, like a bomb splash, say. Only a gun chemist can use this safely, so if like the gunslinger picks up their musket and fires, the firearm's misfire value goes up by a whopping 4. If the firearm would explode, the explosion does the ordnance damage as well. This is treated as bombs for the purposes of discoveries, but you have to take a different splash discovery within this archetype to be able to play with splash. It's too bad this doesn't say favored class bonuses, feats, or like extra bombs for extra alchemical ordnance though, huh? DCs are 10 plus level plus int. Interesting, right? I really wish there were more of these, but beginning at 2nd level, gun chemists can make special alchemical cartridges, increasing their DC by +1 to a maximum DC of 22. This DC goes up by +1 at 5 and every 3 levels thereafter, and they get, like, throw anythings, int damage onto things like a Dragon Breath cartridge. They also get rapid reload for free at level 6 if you didn't take that immediately, which you probably did. So, really a combat feat. Though I dog on the Alchemist as a class a lot, and I probably always will, because where it sits in the flavor department is weird to me. Magic, but not magic. One of the things that 2E got the best was making the Alchemist feel more like Make Items the class. We've said it before, and I'll say it one more time. You could bring 5 Alchemists to a table, and they would all look super different. And this leans into that. But so far as what this wants to get up to, martial alchemists can suffer from being a 3/4 bab that wants to get up and fight things. But since most firearms are targeting touch AC within their first range increment, that can help offset things in a real way. Though we'll be borrowing from some other folks, the alchemist spell list leans in really nicely into everything that your ranged martial wants to get up to. This is the one time I'm building an alchemist, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm not taking the infusion discovery. I'm just using my extracts for myself, literally just to make this do what it wants to do, which can be anything from debuff to battlefield control to just point, click, make it dead. But 20 levels of Alchemist today. For our race, again, gonna roll up the Isoki because that 1/6 of an extra Alchemist discovery is just real nice. Amuran have it too, but I've played a lot of cat ninjas lately, and I kind of want to get away from that. Plus, we all know that rat alchemist it's just the fucking mood. This means your damage dice will be a little smaller, but with all the d6s you're stapling on, I don't think it matters that much. For our traits, we'll grab pragmatic activator so we can use our intelligence in place of our charisma for use magic device, because we're going to be relying on some wands in low level play to be able to do things that other classes can do with ranged attacks. Likewise, rich parents can help us buy very cheap wands at the beginning, as well as special ammunition, firearms other than that busted up one you get to begin play with. Gunslingers are one of those classes that, like, rich parents is not a staple. You don't need the money, but you super want it. For our ability score priority, honestly, it's kind of sort of ludicrously easy. Dexterity and intelligence are the two most important stats. For our ability to hit, our amount of extracts, I think you put your intelligence slightly above your dexterity because you're targeting touch AC most of the time and you just want more gas in the tank. You want to have a little bit in your constitution and your wisdom. Will is the bad save, and the guy who's targeting touch AC, when they get mind controlled and are suddenly throwing too many d6 the wrong direction, it can be real bad. And like, you know what con's for, right? You know why you should have a good constitution score. If not, maybe this is the wrong video to be watching. I'm not going to make a video about why constitution is important. Just Google it, kids. Or don't. Don't listen to me at all. Dump your con. Live your fucking life.
Disclaimer, Black Dragon Gaming does not condone the dumping of Constitution for any reason short of becoming undead at the beginning of play, and not something like a Dampier. This is a really bad idea. Please, no, do not want, do not do not pass go. No.
Strength and charisma, we need neither of them. Throw them to the floor. For our feats, blessed be the range marshals. They're basically color by numbers, even with Elephant in the room reducing these feats just a little bit. You can follow this card right up here. If you don't know what that is, at level 1, we'll take Rapid Reload, choosing firearms. Did you know there's a modified Elephant in the Room PDF? It's a pay what you want. There's a link for it in the description. I didn't realize they'd updated that from the original doc. That's on me. But you know how Rapid Reload says choose a weapon or a kind of firearm? That goes to weapon groups now. So all of the firearms you will be reloading go down in action economy from 1 step. I think most of the time you're looking at like muskets, which are normally standard actions, going to move. Once you're leveled up into iteratives and or rapid shot, make sure you're jamming out paper cartridges so you can reduce the reload, assuming a musket, to a free action so you can fire to your heart's content during a full attack routine. At level 3, we'll take precise shot, because, you know, when the barbarian just won't listen to, hey, keep your fucking head down, I'm trying to shoot this guy, and has to blood for his blood god up front or whatever, you don't take that -4, because everyone hated that. We'll take rapid shot at level 5 for the extra attack with the -2s on all of the things. Fast ordnance isn't going to come around. We'll only be able to use alchemical ordnance in 1 attack until level 8, but, well, you know, more shooty, more good. At level 6, we get a bonus combat feat, so we're going to grab point blank shot. Why? Why not? There's a part of me that wanted to shoehorn style feats in here. I really thought about Overwatch style for a little while, or Kirin style. But really, I like the feat side being very simple and stable compared to everything else that's going on. At level 7, we'll grab ability focus for Cartridge Savant. This is basically a special attack. Some GMs might not allow it. I'm gonna say it's fine. Do you know why I'm gonna say it's fine? Because this build is like decidedly a tier 3 concept. It looks really fun, but it will be outshone by people who are optimizing to the 9s. So like, let the wombo combo with ammo happen. Damn it, give it a +2. Next, we'll grab Grand Duchy Familiarity. It requires a BAB of 3 and proficiency with at least 1 firearm, and it says once per day, as an immediate action, you can re-roll an attack roll with a firearm that would have resulted in a misfire. You must take the result of the new roll, even if the result is a misfire as well. Gun chemists can spend one of their alchemical ordinances to clear misfires, but like the misfire missed too, so that chance to re-roll once per day, it's nice, we like that. Next up, we'll grab clustered shots. Now that we have fast ordnance, attacks from high BAB, and rapid shot, and the amount of like explosive d6s of damage that we can put downrange at things. Being able to throw all of those together for the purposes of DR feels pretty nice, especially because we aren't doing any shenanigans to get dex to damage with gunslinger levels. And with the amount of bombs that are on the end of our bullets, we're probably going to hit massive damage more than twice. From here, everything is just kind of gravy. Weapon focus firearms for the buff, ability focus alchemical ordnance because some of our bombs are DC dependent, far shot because dragons might outrange us sometimes, and shooting at normal AC is the peasant's way. Then at level 19, improved initiative, because if you made it this far, why not? And that was the least interesting part about this concept. Let's talk about our discoveries. Our first one, probably my favorite of all time forever, as my Skull and Shackles players can tell you, Frostbomb. Means that we're shooting cold bullets. Creatures that take direct hits from us are staggered on their next turn unless they fort save. This gets better and better the farther up that you go. Once you get fast ordnance and iteratives, you can stagger like the whole board in a full round action, and in the beginning, this can straight up save lives. Something like a tiger or a Deinonychus that's gonna run up and have several attacks pouncing, now suddenly is stagger locked for its whole life, and you know, we like that. We like that a lot. But at level 4, rather than a discovery, we are going to grab an anointing. Lots of classes have access to them. Wizards get them, investigators get them. We get them by trading out a discovery. Mercurial oil is the one we're grabbing. We can use anointings a total number of times per day equal to 3 plus our level. They're standard actions to apply, and they last for minutes per level. Mercurial oil, when soaked into, in our case, remember kids, you can enchant ammo in groups of 50. This really feels narratively like it was supposed to only work on melee weapons, but I guess momentum at the center of the bullet as it travels makes sense too, and this causes the bullet to deal damage as if it were one size category larger than it actually is. Additionally, if we get in the bad place, we can throw this on our chain shirt and get Barbarian DR too, as well. That was a confusing sentence. Shut up. Remember that part where I said that we were going to get interesting options from the archetype as well? We're going to take the first one here, chemical stability. By grabbing this, when firing alchemical cartridges, we just ignore that straight up increased misfire value, which ignores the downside on something that's already not the most optimized choice. We love that. Remember that part where I said that we got extra discoveries? We're gonna have 3 additional. So this one also comes online at level 6, the Wings discovery. You can have it for a number of minutes equal to your caster level. So 1 minute increments flying around for that's about as long as combats are, really. This sometimes feels arbitrary. I feel like ranged characters in the back in a lot of encounters are just very safe from hazards and bad things in the first place, but when you absolutely need to get over the wall and shoot down at someone else, or get over the wall and open the door, or any other of the utility, there it is, right? Fast ordnance comes on level 8. It's like fast bombs, lets you fire more than one piece of alchemical ordnance as part of a full attack. That's probably the big spike. Level 8 will feel really, really goddamn powerful, I think. I'm not gonna say that this is where it comes online, but from here, everything else is kind of gravy. Next up, we're gonna grab spell knowledge. There are some wizard spells that we really want to get our hands on, so we're going to grab this twice over the course of our career. Spell knowledge lets us choose a single spell from the sorcerer wizard spell list that is at least 2 levels lower than your highest level extract. You can prepare and cast it as an arcane spell. It uses an extract slot 1 level higher than the spell's level. Your caster level is equal to your alchemist level, and your save DCs and concentration checks are int based. You're considered to have the spell on your spell list, so on and so forth. I feel like a wand of until you get to here, and then go ahead and grab spell knowledge for abundant ammunition. Feels really, really good. It's wild to me this wasn't on the alchemist list. Cast this on your 1 non-magical adamantine musket ball. You can figure out the rest, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Good for you. This archetype doesn't trade out its mutagen, so we're gonna hold on to it and grab greater mutagen as soon as we can to almost always just pad the shit out of our dexterity and keep that alchemical bonus rising to further make sure all of our bullets are sticking. This also just means you can buff your con, but you weren't worried about that. You came into this concept with 2 constitution and a dream, and you didn't fucking make it to level 12. What could have been? This is a weird wombo combo, but it feels right. They touch on this lore briefly in 2e. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read Book of the Dead as much as I could have, but there's an interesting wombo that this is the part 1 of that has utility now, Alchemical Zombie. This gives the alchemist the ability to animate a relatively complete corpse as an alchemy-powered zombie. The process takes an hour, costs 100 gold and alchemical reagents per hit dice. You staple the zombie template onto whatever you raise. They count as undead created by Animate Dead for the purposes of determining how many undead you can control. You know what's another spell that's not on our spell list that blows my fucking mind? Silence. Get it on a potion. The invisibility line is show up somewhere, blow the brains off of people, reanimate them, leave them be to be uncontrolled and cause further chaos. Or if your campaign is moving slow enough, if you have hours between encounters, leave zombies behind to watch your back when you're delving, so on and so forth. There are a lot of options here. The other half of the wombo combo comes online at level 14. We got zombie a couple levels earlier. You could put alchemical zombie and bone shard bomb together at level 12 if you wanted to delay your mutagen. Bone shard bomb is an interesting one. We've been using frost bombs between here and there. Instead of fire damage, the thing you're shooting out of your gun does piercing damage. It already does. Creatures that take direct hits from bone shard bombs fort save or take a d4 of bleed in addition to the normal damage. The big one, if a creature is killed killed by a bone shard bomb or the resulting bleed effect, the corpse immediately reanimates as an undead creature with the skeleton template. They count as undead creatures for animate dead for the purposes of determining how many you can have. You have to have alchemical zombie, but this is free real estate. This is free Skelly Boys. Your a ranged character who could be somewhere sniping down into the bad guy's camp or wherever the hell, picking off guards and raising them in one fell swoop, even if you don't maintain control of them and just let them wander. Like, that's, I almost hesitate to tell you to take this. This has like OP summoner vibes. This is limitless. This is talk to your friends. I've created a monster. Grand mutagen next to further pad out our ability to take PCP and do damage to people. Then spell knowledge again. Unfortunately, we can never get the greater variant because wizards get it as level 6 spells, but we can as a level 5 spell grab named bullet. When you drink this magic, fun, you name a specific creature type, fae, native outsiders, dragons, or like somebody you know by name. When used against that creature, the gun never misfires. It's unaffected by concealment. We're already targeting touch EC, so don't worry about that. When you hit, there's an SR check, but a normal hit from your gun is considered to be a critical threat that deals 1 extra point of damage per caster level, which is not multiplied. Natural crits deal the same extra damage, but it is multiplied. So this is just a free ×4 floating around on our spell slots. It's gross. We like that. We like gross things. Right after that, we'll grab splitting mutagen because we like gross things. Once per day, while under the effect of your mutagen, you can split into 2 identical copies of yourself as an immediate action after being damaged by a piercing or slashing weapon. Shoot yourself in the foot. Make a second copy of yourself. Split your hit points. Use the same stats. Share the same non-artifact resources. So on and so forth. Double your action economy for a very big, terrifying Nova round until the end of your next turn where you pick a copy and become them. There's so much synergy in this with like, God, if you have the ability to prep a battlefield, dump caltrops, step on the caltrop, willingly take the piercing damage. It's gonna hurt your foot, but it's gonna hurt them worse. Then true mutagen. So we can pretend to have a full base attack and then some, basically. For our spell casting, man, I really wish you could take the bomb admixture spells and have them play with alchemical ordnance. By a very strict rules as written, you cannot. Talk to your GM though, they might feel differently than me. By and large, you're gonna know what you need a little more than me. Maybe you're getting shot a lot in low level play and you really do need to take Cure Light Wounds or Shield. Things like Blur, things like Invisibility will help you sneak in and then blow people's heads off, frankly. Give you time to position before the battle begins. Haste that you can't share is just fine because, well, you're doing a lot of damage about it. People are going to be a little salty, but don't worry about it. But really, you're going to know better than me. Other than the things we brought up, the Alchemist list can go very, very wide. Knowledge is power. Talk to the plot, talk to the NPCs, learn what you're dealing with, and then prep accordingly. There's one exception to this, but we got to talk about the key magic items first. Here we go. For our magic items, the big 6, always really huge. You can follow this card right up here. I really wish that alchemical bullets could go in hybridization funnels. That would be super fun. But there are some interesting alchemical cartridges. One of them combines with a really fun spell that I wanted to leave to highlight here in this moment. Flare cartridges are neat. They're called out specifically in the text for the gun chemist. When they hit, they do only half damage, but you know, if you put an ordnance on top of that, then it's fine. Oops, half damage plus way more extra damage on top of it. The struck creature, though, is blinded for a round. Who needs blinding bombs? Just make these. On a DC 15 Fortitude, this is reduced to Dazzled. Creatures within a 20-foot burst are dazzled for a round as well. You can use them as signal flares, or you can just shoot someone in the face and cause them to not be able to swing and make your rogues happy. The big one, I think, really, Entangling Shot, which you can only put into scatter weapons. Sometimes we're going to need a shotgun. It's a good problem to have. These deal half damage as well, but creatures who are struck must succeed at a reflex save or become entangled for 2d4 rounds, as, you know, the stuff you shoot wraps around them. Molten cartridges do something kind of similar. The projectiles deal fire damage and then deal an additional d6 after as the projectiles smolder. Targets can use a full round action to scrape off the smoldering projectile before they burn more, right? This also puts caltrops everywhere, except they deal fire damage, so you can't go step on them and ooze yourself. After 3 rounds, there's harmless bits of metal. This plays really nicely with what might be my favorite spell in this. Blightburn Weapon. Cast this on your ammunition that you're shooting. Transform your bullet into radioactive bad times. Wear lead-lined gloves when you reload your gun. That's a good idea. Take your plagues because this is a disease. Pass your fort saves. You're good at fort saves. You didn't dump your con. You didn't show up with 3 con and so you died. Spell says that at rounds per level, the weapon functions as normal, but any creature that touches it or that it strikes takes 2d6 points of fire damage each round it remains in contact. Like if that entangling shot is still stuck to someone, right? In addition, that stuff stuck to folks causes Blightburn sickness. Blightburn sickness does 1d6 con damage and 1d6 cha damage. For a minute there, I was gonna be like, well, if these guys reanimate, then it's totally fine. It's a much lower radiation than the radioactive thing normally is. Not only does this do more damage, not only is this ludicrously on brand, it also stops a trope I use a lot, but I feel like happens in a lot of places. When the bad guys run away by like teleporting and stuff, and then suddenly they're taking con damage that is harder to wear off because they're saving at a caster, quote unquote, spell DC instead of something like a lower hazards DC. If nothing else, this will 1000% put fear into the hearts of the people you're shooting at because you're shooting radiation at them. But as for where to play this, by default, we want to be doing cold damage and we want to be making undead. So maybe don't bring this one to the Deus Vult game or like Reign of Winter. Likewise, crafting in downtime means a game with longer. Likewise, because we're firearm dependent, some GMs may poo-poo this from the start. I feel like those GMs don't know Pathfinder well. I did a video about the history of guns on Golarion when they announced Guns and Gears. Follow this card. Get caught up if you don't know already. Guns are pretty ubiquitous. Don't worry about it. The more downtime to make things, the better. The more research time, the better. The more access to a town where you can buy things to put in the Alchemist's formula book, the better. So adventures around big cities as opposed to out in the hinterlands will probably feel better. But even with all of that said, even if you're just crawling dungeons forever, you should have enough things in-house to make this fun, viable, and indeed relevant. That is where I'll leave it for today. What do y'all think? Am I ever going to make a non-Yusoki gun? Well, I did Goblin Gunslingers before. Really did think about it again, but it feels win more. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments. As always, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.